The Jackal is pinned, bleeding, and surrounded by my army. His ambush is undone. He has lost, but he's not helpless. He's no longer Lucian. It's almost like his hand isn't impaled. His voice doesn't waver. He's not angry, just piss in your boots scary. He reminds me of me before I got into a rage. Quiet, unhurried. I wanted my soldiers to see him squirm. He doesn't, so I tell them to leave. Only the 10 howlers, old and new, stay. Good evening, Charles. How are we, my good men? Are we prime?
Yes, sir. I am good. I am excited for we are coming close to the end of this book. A couple chapters left, and I'm bringing my family on our last camping trip for the year because of how excited I am to get through this first book. So you're welcome, kids.
Nothing to do with your wife telling you that you're going camping. And
hey! I told you that in confidence. But no, I'm doing good. I have a lot of packing up to do in the last minute tomorrow morning, and then we're off. But yeah, how are you doing?
Good, man. I am doing fine. I wanted to, before I forget, give a shout out to Nick Knott's Custom, who sent us each our own Ares helm. It's a 3D printed helm, and I think he said they were $40 on the Etsy store.
Yes.
And that you can paint them, and he's maybe going to paint them at some point. We don't know all the details. We just know the thing looks badass. It's super cool. It's, I don't know what, 8 inches, maybe 8, 9 inches tall. And it's just cool.
Six and a half.
All right. It's nerdy as hell, but it's awesome. And we really appreciate Nick sending them to us. And we encourage you, get out there and support Nick Knott's Custom on Instagram and on Etsy. So definitely check that out. Well worth it. They are, it's kind of tying the room together as the dude may say.
Yeah. He did say, just to add in, that if some people were requesting different colors, he could actually, if you gave him a couple more days, he could 3D print it in that specific color. If you didn't want to sand it or paint it yourself, is what he mentioned.
Okay, cool. That's good to know, because I definitely am not going to paint it myself. It would look like a drunk kindergartner finger painting,
which
actually
awesome.
might look very, I was just going to say,
use red or something. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's about the coolest thing that happened to me this week. I am, getting ready for the election. I'm a town clerk, so prepping for that has consumed most of my time now lately.
I bet.
Very exciting stuff. And yeah, nothing else, man. Nothing. I'm ready for fall. I'm happy fall is here. This is my time of year. There's no better time to live in New England.
That's true. Yeah, beautiful. That's when we used to go out, when we had time to go on the bike, my wife and I, on a motorcycle trip, looking at the foliage and the freedom, until our beautiful kids came along. I have to add that.
Oh, your wonderful, wonderful babies.
Yep. So I just look at the picture on the wall of when we used to ride the motorcycle, and then
when you had freedom and your youth and the ability to decide what you want to do at any moment and do it. Damn it.
Yeah, not anymore.
Well, on that note, do we have any tight beams?
I do not have any tight beams at this moment.
Do you have a howl of appreciation?
I did have a howl of appreciation, but it was for Nick Knott's Custom. So
I swooped in and took it from you.
It's all good. I just, the work, you touched on it, this badass helmet. We've spoke back and forth on Instagram, and he's a very cool guy, and he sent this out right away. I tried making a little video of it on Instagram, but yes, please check it out. We want to start with maybe his company or whatever else, building our star shell, trying to get these cool products out to people, let them know. So
And you're belittling your cinematic masterpiece. It's not a little movie. Charles made a stop motion animation box opening of this product, and it was, I don't know how you did it.
It's my first
Very,
time.
very cool. It was, you couldn't tell.
There you go. I
No, it was
appreciate it.
great. It was very well done, and it was cool, and God, time consuming, I'm sure.
Yeah, a
I
little
won't
bit.
tell the people where you edited that, for your dignity's sake.
You got to do what you got to do.
But yeah, so that's your Howl appreciation. I have a separate one.
Nice.
I am howling out Orson Scott Card, the author of Ender's Game and the Ender's series. He was maybe I think the first true pure science fiction author that I read, which was Ender's Game. If you haven't read it, go read it. It is a phenomenal book. I think it's 200 and some odd pages, so you could do it in a weekend easy. And it reads really quickly. And in it, you will see a lot of inspiration touch points for the Red Rising world, particularly the Red Rising book itself. Afterwards, it starts to drift off, but Red Rising itself has a lot of echoes of Orson Scott Card's Ender Wiggin world. And so my howl of appreciation is out to the man himself, Orson Scott Card.
Hell yeah. Hey, would you believe
Have you read Ender's Game?
I was just going to say, you believe that I have not read it. I've been told to years ago by my good friend Jacob, but I never got around to it. I don't know why.
Well, you should remedy that. You would like it. I think you would like it quite a bit.
That's my mission now.
All right. So, Chuck, you're going to read Ender's Game at some point. The people out there who haven't read it, go and read it. And Orson Scott Card, thank you for hundreds of hours of enjoyment. And that is my howl. Should we get into the recap, my good men, of Chapter 41, The Jackal?
Yes, sir. And that opening that you did, that sent chills down my spine when I first read that passage in the chapter, and I was like, oh shit, the Reap man himself is in trouble. This guy is a psychopath. So
There's
I'm ready.
one particular word that I think really did the same for me. It is piss in your boots scary.
Yeah.
I've never come across that before, and it was, oh yeah, that would be fucking terrifying if you stab somebody's hand into a table and they weren't shrieking and crying and writhing around.
When he takes that moment where he just takes like a deep breath and he just like consoles himself and then looks up at Darrow, he's not messing around. You know it's something bad's going to happen.
There's it reminds me of, I think there's a moment in Terminator where the original Terminator, or maybe in the second one, where they stab him in the hand to a table or a wall or something. Might be another Arnold movie, I don't remember. But they stab him in the hand and he just stares at the person as he pulls his hand off the knife. And it's got that vibe of like, oh, this is not a human. This is not a regular human being we are dealing with. This is
that was the first
different creature.
That was the first one, and there was the Street Thugs, and that actor's passed away now. The guy who
Bill Paxton.
Yes.
Interesting trivia fact.
Oh, let's go.
Bill Paxton, the only actor to be killed by an alien, a Terminator, a Predator, and a cowboy.
A cowboy? I've never seen him in a
Tombstone.
Oh, Tombstone. Oh, my God, yeah.
He was Wyatt's little brother.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He had his little creepy mustache.
Predator 2, he gets killed by the Predator.
Yep.
Aliens, he's a Marine.
The colonial Marine.
Yep. And then in Terminator, he's one of the biker thugs.
Yep.
So if anybody's at trivia and they get that question, you're welcome. You can send checks to our Patreon. So anyhow, let's dive into Chapter 41, The Jackal. And the recap goes as Lucian, or Lucian. How do you want me to say it? Because I know you're fucking persnickety about that.
I say Lucian.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course
just because you said it the other way earlier.
Lucian attempts to slip out of the trap, but Darrow literally pins him to the spot, knife through hand, through table, like I just told you from that quote. Darrow's army removes the mask, as with Nova or Novus the situation earlier. They were pretending to be amateurs, pretending to be drunk and stupid and playful, sleeping, that whole thing. This time around, they have played it even better than they did before, to a point where I was kind of like, I don't. Did they all just? You're telling me that all 100 of these semi-teenage kids are such good actors that nobody was like, why are you like running into walls?
Yeah,
Um,
so
I don't
belligerent.
know. There just seemed a little bit of like, not beyond the pale of my believability because
Mm,
we're talking about space kids in Mars and whatnot. But like, I was like, I don't know.
it's
I don't know how
questions.
much I buy them all passing out believably drunk. But anyhow,
There was times where
neither.
growing up, I mean, we all partied. You and I did, and there's times you swear that we all just passed out in a
Oh,
basement.
no, no, no. But we were drunk.
I know there
That's
was a
the
difference.
difference. Is
Not on grape
these kids
juice.
are all stoned sober.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then also I was wondering, like, so are they the only ones drinking? You're telling me none of. Oh, but you
They
know what? I'm
were.
answering my own question.
Oh,
They were the only ones
yes.
drinking.
He didn't offer it
And
because that was the
yeah,
PAX played off that Darrow was
yeah.
going to offer it, and then he used it as an excuse to get PAX outside to root out wherever the army was.
Pierce, I'm sorry. I will I will take my 20 lashes. Um, you did figure it all out. I'm just an idiot. Okay. The Jackal leans into the desperation of the moment and he tries to convince the Howlers to turn on Darrow. There's no luck there. The Howlers, the 10 guys that stick around, are not willing to stab Darrow in the back or take. It wouldn't even be stabbing in the back, in my opinion. Do you think it would
No,
be stabbing in the back? I think it
no.
would be just.
You're
It would be
blatantly, yeah, kill
yeah,
him right now in front of me so I can bring you glory in the future. You know, he does try
which
to offer
honestly would be a
Darrow,
smart play.
yes,
And I'm going there right now. So he can't get the Howlers to take up arms against Darrow. So instead, he targets Darrow and says, "Hey." Tries to get Darrow to flip by promising him lofty positions outside of the game. Says, "Look, your life will be a lot easier. Just let me win. I'll give you everything you want. You'll win by letting me win."
yeah.
Um, and it's
He questions it too. He thinks
yeah.
Dancer would have wanted this decision. And he says to himself, I believe, he's like, I so badly want to accept his offer. But it's the fact of then the Golds would be winning again is what really pushed him over the edge where he's like, no, gory damn, no.
It's we talked about it a few weeks ago or a couple episodes ago, the difference between strategy and grand strategy. And this is one of those moments where
Yep.
the Jackal is giving Darrow a strategic win. You know, it would
Yep.
gain him whatever amount of success outside of the game. But Darrow is focused on his grand strategy, which is I need to be the only one holding my strings as I come out of this game. I need to be the one making the choices, making the decisions. I can't be a puppet of the Jackal when we leave here. Ironically, I won't say anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I was going to
ironically,
say, this comes back in my chapters. Yeah.
and so there's a great example of victory that turns into defeat in grand strategic thought, and or in an example, a historic example is the French Empire. They joined America's first ally. They joined the American Revolution. It's the French Navy that allows us to truly win the American. Or well, I mean, some people disagree, but I think that that's kind of the coup de grace,
Hmm.
if you will, against the British Empire. It might have been the worst decision that the French could have chosen at that point in time. It basically bankrupted the crown of France. It exposed extreme weaknesses within their military to their arch enemy, the British. It exposed their colonial territories to the British because now they were at war. So the British
Yep.
could, anywhere that there was a French colony, they could go and take as much as they wanted or could. And so in the long run, even though they won in the American Revolution, the French come out as the clear victors alongside the Americans. In the long run, the French Empire suffered a crushing defeat.
Hmm.
Um,
I did not
and
know
ceased
that.
to exist short time after, within years. So it's one of those, like, the short-term strategy was successful, but the long-term grand strategy ultimately was weak.
Hmm.
And that's where Darrow is right now. He has a choice between the strategic victory now or a grand strategic victory that might not happen. That's
Yeah.
the gamble here is
That
he's
it's
got a sure
unknown.
thing here with the Jackal, but it's unknown. So my question for you, my good man,
Shoot.
I think Darrow should probably take the Jackal's deal. We as the audience know it turns out different. But
Yes.
if you didn't know, are you taking that deal or no?
In the moment when I first read it, I thought he was going to. So I was in agreement with it. I thought, well, hey, you already have the win laid out. So I probably would have taken the deal. Yes. What about you?
I think I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I think I'm too limited in my long-term planning.
Yes.
I would have seen the shiny thing being waved in front of me by a very powerful person and said, yeah, oh yeah, no, this is the goal, right? The
Yeah.
goal is to just get to that point of I'm a powerful person in this world. I would have lost sight of the fact that the goal is actually to become the most powerful
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
So then you can wind the clock back.
So versus you have this offer from the son, of the man you hate, but the most powerful person on Mars versus you have no idea if even they're going to accept the results of this institute because you've done things that nobody else has ever done, and you're not even a real house anymore. You're just a rogue unit. So it's all these unknowns, and this offer, yeah, I would have probably taken it up.
But that's why we are not Darrow.
Yep.
Because Darrow's made of sterner stuff, I guess. Or at least has better foresight. Okay,
Well,
so Darrow, no, go ahead.
to bring on that point, I don't know if you've questioned, speaking of foresight, how did he know he was the Jackal? I don't get it, right? Because it was him in my chapter where he shows
Yep.
up, he got this whole castle released to him. I don't know if you're going to touch on it. If not,
I'm not, because I don't know.
right?
I still don't know. I've reread the chapters multiple times.
The only thing I
and
can
I still
remember,
am not sure.
He mentions, he's like, oh, next time hide your hands. Somebody who's insecure fidgets with their hands, and he was just too stoic and was too sure of himself. And it's like, so that's what you went on?
That's part of it, but then there's something to do with the rings. It's not clear to me. He dumps out the bag of rings and he can find all of them except for a Pluto ring.
Yeah. And the entire
but Lucian's not wearing a Pluto ring, so
No,
why is that a tell? I don't know.
Unless the
But did you
Jupiter
notice
ring didn't fit, right?
Oh, was it loose on his hand?
Yeah, maybe
It
it
might
was.
have been like loose.
Yeah, it was falling off.
I don't know. But to your point, I'm still I'm not very confused because I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. But I still am coming away with I don't know how that was done. Did you pick up on the boot conversation?
Yes, when he comments on Darrow's boots being
Darrow's
funky looking,
weird boots,
and I played it off at first like, "What? You're making fun of his boots?" Like, I don't quite get it, and then of course it makes sense later on. But yeah, I thought it was a weird
didn't
jab.
pick it up on the first read through. I was like, "What a weird conversation." This guy is like a prisoner of war, and he's like, "Nice boots," and Darrow having this weird explanation of I've got to have furs on my feet to warm them or whatever. It was just very odd. And then rereading all these, I was like, oh, it was, it comes back, obviously. Okay, so Pax reports to Darrow that the army the Jackal left in hiding has been found and is currently being enslaved by Mustang. He makes a note of her strange behavior. Mustang is not acting like Mustang. Darrow tries to reason with the Jackal, tries to see if he actually knows how much help he has received. It becomes clear the Jackal is fully aware that
Yep.
everybody's cheating to get him to win, and he doesn't care because he's a gold, and it doesn't matter how you win, it's about just winning. And also, I don't know if you got this out of it, but like, it's not really his fault.
Well, what do you mean? Just because he's not
Like,
the one pushing it, it's his father doing it all? So,
yeah, it's like I always felt bad. There were kids in like Little League whose dad would buy like the jerseys for the team. And then so the kid who sucked would kind of get preferential treatment,
oh, yeah.
but that meant they would play more, but it would just show how much
off
they
how
sucked
much.
more. And so it
It's
was
a
like a
double-edged sword.
never-ending cycle there, where then like the dad's hard on the kid because the kid sucks,
Yeah.
and then the dad dumps more money into the team so the kid can play more because he shouldn't be playing. And it's just like, I don't blame the kid for that. That's the dad being an asshole.
I like your comparison, but knowing what we know about Lucien, do you think he didn't know or wasn't part of the whole game to begin with?
No, I don't.
You don't think he? Yeah, I
No,
think he
because I
somehow
don't think
strategically he was just like pushing for it, or maybe suggested it to his
no,
father.
no, I don't think he and his father talked.
Hmm. Well, they
From
don't
what we
later
know of their
on.
relationship,
We don't later on because this was such, I think, a disappointment. But we don't know how they
but
acted to each other before this.
we do though. Because
Remind me.
Mustang eventually will tell us that like Nero was always cold to him.
Oh, I forgot
Never.
about that.
Remember, they put him out to like, they exposed him because he was like such a small like weakling.
That was after
pre-
this institute.
No,
though,
no.
wasn't it?
Exposing's done when they're a baby. That's when it's a baby. They put it out in the wilderness and it either
Oh.
survives or it dies. The father always thought he was a disappointment. That's why when Adrius
Oh, I forgot about
Adrius and
that.
Mustang are like little kids and
And
he's
they're
making
separated.
the puzzles and
Yeah.
he was always trying to get his father's attention and his father never gave it to him.
So this
That's
is the
why I
shitty
like
kid in baseball,
the
and
shitty
the
kid.
dad's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's the dad who's who's to say. Now we understand the Jackal as the Jackal.
Yeah.
But like if he comes in there and it's all above board and Nero doesn't do anything to help him win, the Jackal's out in the first like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He's enslaved or he's dead or like gone or whatever. So like it's not the game that made him a monster. It's not him conniving and making the Proctors cheat for him. They went in there and the Proctors were going to cheat for him regardless of what the Jackal did.
I agree with your point too, because what all his growing up too determined like his psychology, his mindset as he grew, because he was always trying to fight to be seen by his father or be noticed. So yeah, I didn't piece it together like that, but I like that.
The other thing too is like just purely this is head canon, but like if Nero Augustus, the Jackal's dad and Mustang's dad, is planning this, like he's got to get these Proctors months before.
Yeah.
He's got to be bribing them for months. These Proctors went into the game knowing that they were going to cheat for Adrius. That has to be like a lot. Like, I don't think Adrius went to dad and said, "Hey, can you make them cheat for me?" I think the dad was like, "No, I have to have you win. You're my son."
But he's smart enough to know maybe the game his dad might have played or may play if once he's in the institute. He just maybe
for
wasn't.
Sure. That's where I think when he says, "Yeah, I knew they were cheating the whole time. I'm okay with it." That's what he was doing. Why wouldn't I take advantage of it? I'm a gold. I want to win. If someone's going to cheat for me, I'm going to take advantage of that.
As far as he sees it, it's all part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even cheating. It's just you're either, you're Bill Belichick. You're either playing or you're not playing. And if you're not playing, you're out.
Yep. And you're not.
When I say Mustang was being weird, she came into the room where the Jackal was being held, pinned to the table. She has a weird look with Darrow, and there's a moment
Before he was pinned.
And
But yes.
oh, was it before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, that's where it's being weird.
Yeah.
She knows who he is, but she's not really. She's not sure. It's a rare moment for Mustang where she's not sure how to play this string, which I think you don't really see very often.
No. But she trusts Darrow enough to accept, he's like, get out, it's boys only or some crap. And
Yeah, yep.
and she's like, okay. And then she's enough trust there. She's like, he's got it handled. Even
Which
though
is dangerous
she has
for
something
her.
to say. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if Adrius says, "Oh, that's my sister," it's very likely, and he's a guy who can talk. If he convinces him, "Oh yeah, I had her doing this to be by your side,"
That's a good point.
Darrow might end up turning around and having her arrested or whatever, put under arms or something. Okay. The climax comes as Darrow gives the Jackal the ultimate test: escape and walk out minus a hand, or submit and keep submit and keep both hands. He thinks he knows Gold and the Oriat class well enough to be sure that this kid would never pay such a high price, deform himself, and or admit defeat. But he's wrong.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Jackal is appropriately named, as we find out here, that the name comes from the idea that a jackal will gnaw off its leg to escape a trap, and that, I mean, he lives up to his sobriquet.
So, but
no, go ahead.
Should Darrow have realized this when we know the history of Jupiter? Are you bringing it up?
No.
Oh.
I'm just I'm smelling your fart. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
We know they went into a cave and collapsed the tunnel and ate their own people. You know the lengths this man is willing to go. Don't you think he would have been like, he might do it? He was so sure about it. He's like, Golds won't hurt themselves for something else. It's like, well, he already ate his own people. I think this one's a little different.
There's an element there of like the Jackal had. We don't know what the Jackal did or didn't do in that cave.
True.
It's possible that he convinced everybody else to do the dirty work, and that the Jackal was just eating to survive. Like, we wouldn't hold it against the soccer team that crashed into the Andes when they became cannibals, because it was a moment of survival. So like that taboo's kind of lifted in certain circumstances. Now, if he was just, if he was living on a farm with cattle and then just decided to start eating people, different story entirely. But in this instance, like, you could make the argument that it was a survival tactic. It just showed that he was ruthless with other people's lives when he caved in so that he could keep playing.
I see it as he opened the door, which means the possibilities are.
Oh, no, I agree
altered.
with you. I totally agree with you. Because I think as soon as the Jackal takes that knife and the first cut, you shoot him in the head.
Yes. Yeah,
he's a wild animal. He's a wild, because you never want to have an enemy that you can't predict what they're going to do.
True.
And so the first moment that you give them an opportunity to be predictable and they are not predictable, you got to get rid of that enemy.
Yes, and he starts cutting himself. And the other thing I noticed in the chapter was Pax was talking way too much. In the entire book, Pax never really spoke more than like 4 words. And he kept saying stuff or making comments, and I was like, "This is not a good sign."
Yep. It was a
bad sign. I go too far. Sorry.
Particularly because in this next part of the recap here, he goes, Pax, being the big, kind-hearted, oaf that he is, hands the Jackal an ion blade to make the cutting faster and quicker, because the Jackal, I'm picturing him feverishly sweating with a crazy-eyed smile as he's like just gnawing at his arm. And then Pax is terrified. You know, the giant Telemanus is
And
terrified and
disgusted.
is like, I want this to be over. Here, take the ion blade and do it. Bad move.
Yeah.
We found out in the last couple chapters that these ion weapons are almost as good as razors in terms
Yeah.
of their lethality. So it's essentially like giving a person who has a blade, who has a pocket knife, giving them a broadsword.
Yes.
Probably not a great move, Pax.
No.
But also it's a, to what you were just saying, where he says 4 words the whole book, and 3 of those 4 words are his fucking name. And then in this chapter, he's
Such a
like
good point.
pontificating
Yes.
and does this incredibly kind-hearted, like, he's just being thoughtful and nice and trying to make the pain less for this guy.
Yeah.
Not a good move.
No.
So the choice to win, how far would you go? And what does this mean for Darrow? What does this particular act mean for Darrow? Is there a mirror here?
What, just pinning down the Jackal? How do you mean
No,
exactly?
no. Like, if you think about it in terms of Darrow did the same thing.
Oh, with like the killing of EO and
Yeah, his
transforming and
wife, the suicide, like removing an appendage, sawing off an appendage so that you can live a certain way,
because his physical body didn't mean as much to him as just like
Exactly.
the Jackal. He's not a normal gold. He's willing to go that extra length. I see, yeah, similarities. I never once looked at it that way.
The Jackal is performing his own version of the carving.
That's creepy to think about, but yeah.
He is carving off a limb to stay in the game. Darrow basically did the same thing. And both did it so that they wouldn't have to submit to gold.
True. 100%. Except Darrow never killed anyone in the process.
Except for himself.
Well, all right. Yeah. In a way.
But also, I'm not even talking about that. I mean, like the actual, the
transformation,
the kind of fearless bravery and psychotic dedication that it would take to carve your body just so that you won't lose.
Yep.
Just so that you don't lose.
There's
I think
similarities there, that's for sure. I never pieced that together.
Okay, well,
You agree?
Was hoping.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, is this a good idea? And then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, oh, this is a stupid fucking idea. And now that I've put it out there, and you're like, oh yeah, there's something there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just take the victory lap, and I thought it was a great idea.
I wish I had the other point of view.
I'm sure it's wrong. Don't. It's definitely, if Pierce Brown were here, he'd be like, no, dude,
Yeah,
it's simple. The guy's just cutting his hand off.
Yeah, he's a sociopath.
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
So while this horror is unfolding, the Proctors show up to aid the Jackal. So they're still cheating to try and get this kid to win. In the confusion, because the Proctors throw a ion grenade. I know it was like an ion charger or something. But in my head, it's like a
flashbang is what I imagine.
Okay.
But I question its effectiveness because it doesn't affect the Jackal.
So that's why I thought it was a flashbang. Is like like he must have got it and then knew what it was and immediately used it and like looked away and somehow was able to avoid the concussion or whatever. Because if it were just a straight up grenade, like everybody in that room is dead.
Be eviscerated. I mean, the Howlers and Darrow got flung across the room, but the Jackal didn't. And it doesn't mention he throws the grenade or anything. It just says he presses it. So
that makes sense because that's what I was reading it and I was confused by that.
Yeah.
And then I thought maybe there was something in the room that like under the table, an angled charge or something that just, I don't know. But anyhow, it goes off. The Jackal is unaffected. Everybody else is kind of dazed and thrown about the room. And as the Jackal is headed towards Darrow with the ion blade that Pax gave him, the Telemanus man throws himself bodily in between the rabid dog and Darrow. And Pax is stabbed repeatedly in the neck and I think the chest or in the body. And
Trying to get to
oh, I'm
Darrow.
sorry. No.
The Jackal
I have
did
it a little
stab him
reversed.
in the throat
So
first.
before he blows the grenade,
Yeah.
he stabs Pax in the neck, then pops the charge on the grenade. Then Pax human shields the blast, throwing himself in front of and on top of Darrow. And as Darrow's lying there, he's got Pax's lifeblood dropping onto his face. And then the Jackal hops onto Pax's back and in a frenzied attempt to get to Darrow, stabs Pax over and over, like trying to dig through this giant kid to get at Darrow. And that image was just very, I don't know about for you, but very cinematic in my mind. Like brutal.
And I like the last moments, Pax must have known that he doesn't have enough strength to actually like fight back. All he can do is just die in a way where he can protect Darrow. But when I've read it, I thought of this is how like real warfare happens. There's no glorious speech and battle and like those you love and your heroes are like on top of the hill screaming and charging down and cinematic music in the background. It's just moments of, oh shit, he just got killed. And it's like they did one last effect. And it's how this transpired in this chapter is like, well, this is more realistic to how like a normal fight happens and your friends or loved ones are killed. But it's sad. It's sad in every way. Darrow can't do anything. The telemantis is so big, but he did his last dying breath or attempt to save Darrow, which is what makes Pax's father love Darrow even more later on. But it's touching.
I think it was brutal. It's why everybody loves Pax.
Yeah.
You know, I think Pax screaming his name was really, you know, it's funny and it's endearing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make a character that you would like, you know, feel a real kinship towards. It's just kind of a quirky character.
Yep.
This one sequence, this one chapter is why people years later now consider Pax their favorite characters.
Yeah.
Like the selflessness, the bravery, the understanding, and this is direct from Kavak's or not, you know, again, headcanon, but the idea that your strength is in protecting people that can't protect themselves. That's real strength. And Pax is that. He's a shield. He's a human shield. It reminds me of Ragnar and the shield of Tinos and that kind of, you know, your real power is in the ability to protect others.
How much you're willing to put yourself through to protect others. Yeah.
To the end.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to touch on with what you just said about combat, I've just read a really interesting article, and it was talking about combat in film.
Mm-hmm.
And it was talking about how it specifically was talking about Black Hawk Down and how it's a wonderful movie and it shows combat really well in terms of Hollywood.
Yes. Yeah.
But the guy was like, if you want to know what it's really like, so in Black Hawk Down, when you know, you see a close-up shot of a guy on top of a roof of a building, and he picks up the RPG and he loads it, and then they cut to a Humvee rolling down the street, and then they cut to the guy standing up on top of the roof, and then they cut back to the Humvee, and you know, somebody sees the guy on the roof, and then they cut back to the guy on the roof, and he fires the RPG, and then it cuts back to the destruction and explosion. He was like, take everything out of the middle.
Yep.
And just have the guy in the Humvee going down the road and then an explosion.
Yep.
If you want to film combat real,
yes,
that's what it's like.
Yep.
You have no context. You didn't know that guy was up there.
Nope.
You didn't know that he was loading it. It's just you're doing one thing for a moment, and then the next moment it's mayhem.
Yes, you could be
that was brilliant.
On the radio, you know, just calling in on a normal call sign. Oh, no, all clear, starboard side. And next thing you know, you're in the thick of it, and in that moment of an explosion of like pink mist, or that the ear pop thing is a real thing that Hollywood does do, that your body goes through when you experience these explosions and you have that dullness and it's like time stands still. I have to give
Mm.
Hollywood credit for that. But yes, the cut scenes back and forth, it's not it's not possible. It's not real.
Which is obvious because it's like they're trying to tell a story,
Yeah.
and it would be the audience wouldn't like it if they all of a sudden were, for obvious reasons. It would
Yeah.
be terrifying and weird and this odd feeling of unnerved, being unnerved. I just, as I was reading that, and then you were bringing up this, and then I was thinking about reading this chapter, and you're right. It does have that kind of feeling of everything's going the way you think it's going to go, and
Yep.
then there's an ion charger
It's
in there, and then it's loud, and everybody's thrown everywhere, and just trying to figure out how to process that information that quickly.
yes.
Um,
And sometimes you
I th-
don't for days. Sometimes it's just things happen in the moment and you're still torn up on next thing you realize it's 3 days later and you're like, what the hell just happened back in that room? It's just your body can't even process it because you're just trying to stay alive. You're going to the next step. It doesn't matter what happened then anymore. You're trying to keep your head down. So, and
yeah.
sometimes it takes months or years to process something, which I can attest to. So the mind is it's a fickle
I
bitch.
don't want to, I don't want to delve too deeply into it. I just thought to what
Yep.
you were saying about that kind of like that nuance of context is totally lacking in combat. It's
Yep.
just moment to moment, like stark differences. But yeah, I thought I agree. This chapter felt very visceral in its violence. It just
Yep.
very realistic. The Jackal isn't finished. Darrow finally gets out from under Pax. Now, Pax is huge, and he's like weighing Darrow down. We also know Darrow's incredibly strong, so you got to imagine this guy is like 500 pounds or something,
Yeah.
something insane.
Pure muscle.
He
Arnold.
swiggles out from under, gets out from under his savior. He finds out that Pax is dead, and the Jackal is in the wind. I don't know about you. We just kind of talked on it, but this is like a brutal, real emotion for Darrow. He's in the throes of deep sorrow for a gold
Yep.
that he only knew for a short while. And that, I think, enhances his feeling of loss. Like he loved Pax, but in the way that you would love someone that you've only known for weeks or months. And yes, there's a close-knit, tight bond that was made, but like, I wonder how much of his sorrow and pain is also wrapped up in the idea of like, I feel this way about a gold. He's
So
a
it's almost
bad
guilt.
guy. Yeah, this is a guy I should hate. And somehow it's elicited this real pain.
Especially because
We
they
don't
spent
even get
months
this.
warring against each other before they
For sure.
joined sides.
And we don't even get this much emotion when he watches Leah get her throat slit. And he was friends
Yeah.
with her.
True.
They're in the same house. He watches that, and sure, he's sad, but he's not like weeping. We don't get the same reaction when he thinks Roke is dead.
Yeah, so this
I
one's
mean,
just
maybe
much more powerful. Well, maybe when they're warring together and taking over other houses, that's when, yes,
Yeah.
you have a closer knit bond, but it's
for sure.
it's beyond that. It doesn't take much time when you're putting your life in someone else's hands, which maybe
True,
he didn't have
true.
that with Leah or with Roke.
True.
Definitely not, because he's just a poet sitting in the back corner. But
And also, this guy did jump in front of a bomb for him and
Yeah.
get his face, or basically have a hole dug into him,
yeah,
protecting him. So there's another layer there. I just thought his reaction was so intense to this.
I think it's
and
maybe it's guilt too. Yeah, just because he shouldn't or thinks he shouldn't be feeling this way.
Wounded, the Jackal leaves a trail as he escapes into the mountains, so he's bleeding and leaving a path to him, which a furious Darrow follows with the Howlers in tow. Apollo appears before them and openly attacks. For the first real time, he is striking blows against students, kind of like Miss Trunchbull in Matilda. That's my vision of him. And he's blasting Howlers away. I don't think he kills them, but he hits them with a pulse fist and they go flying. Darrow strikes the Proctor with a blade, but due to his armor, Apollo is unharmed. He grabs Darrow, flying him into the sky, and berates him, screaming at him to lose the game. or Mustang will get destroyed. Darrow refuses, as I think we all knew he would, and Apollo drops him. A real Scar and Mufasa moment. Just drops
Yep.
him from on high, hoping that the gravity will do the dirty job of murder. Um, but he's unaware that Darrow is in Fitchner's grab boots. Like we were talking about earlier, Darrow's got these weird uh,
Pelts.
pelts on his feet wrapped up. They look ridiculous. Ridiculous enough that the Jackal mentions it.
Hmm.
Apollo didn't clock it. So when he drops Darrow, instead of plummeting to the earth in his death, Darrow's just floating there in front of him, which must have been a real shock.
Yeah.
And Darrow activates the boots, flies straight at the shocked Proctor. Darrow strikes the only unarmored portion of Apollo's body, using his ring knife to smash the fake god in the eye multiple times, killing him. In his rage, he slips up and utters bloody damn, which I think every reader caught in that moment was like,
Yep.
Now, I didn't think about it in the way that it comes back later. I was just like, this is the first time he's really kind of putting it out
Slipped.
there.
Yeah.
And Darrow drops the dead gold Proctor and returns to his army. He explains that this war is now against the gods themselves, and it's turned into a rescue mission as they have to save Mustang. One thing I wanted to note, there's an echo of maybe the Achilles story with Apollo here.
How so?
You know,
What, just like with his
Well, so-
final weakness, or
Darrow finds the one spot in his body that he can actually strike him and
which
kill
was
him,
his eye?
which is Achilles, the arrow to
Ankle.
the Achilles,
Yeah.
and Apollo being the god of bows and arrows and plays a part in the whole Troy situation. It's kind of fitting
Isn't
justice.
the god of the sun or something?
Yeah, but Apollo and Artemis, yeah, they used bows.
Okay. Yeah.
What did I say he was the god of?
Yeah. You said Apollo. You didn't say the god of sun or anything. You're just saying that he uses.
I think he's
arts and bows.
the god of the sun, but he's also uses a bow and he's the god of music. He's, you know, the Greeks, they threw a bunch of things on these guys, but he used a bow and arrow.
They
I
drank a
don't
lot.
know. I just thought it was fitting that Apollo, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's a stretch. Okay, I get it. I'm stretching it. Anyhow,
I
that
like it.
is chapter 41. Now we are moving on to chapter 42, War
Yes, sir.
on Heaven. All right, Darrow dons the dead god's armor and weapons and gives Severo his ghost cloak and his Daz grav boots, confirming the father-son dynamic, which I think that we kind of, at this point, if you didn't know that they were father-son, you knew there was some weird relationship.
Yeah.
Or,
Well-
wait, no, we know. We
no,
already
we know that already. Yes. It's
Yes,
just
yes,
this
yes,
is the
okay.
first time where Darrow admits it to Severo.
This is the first
that
time
he knows.
Severo finds out that Darrow knows.
Yes.
Okay. The Howlers are hauled up to Olympus by Darrow and Severo, and they begin to infiltrate the home of the gods. I thought this was a funny sequence because it's like those, you know, remember the monkeys in a barrel?
Yeah.
Where you
Barrel
like
of monkeys.
they have their arms and you like link them all together.
Yep. Daisy chain.
That's what it looked like in my mind. Is there's just a giant monkey,
Floating.
Monkey chain of floating kids. They're hunting Jupiter as they march through Olympus, and they come across Venus, Juno, Vulcan, subduing each of those gods in turn. They also glean that the game has changed as the Jackal lives and Cassius is being leapfrogged ahead in the arms race of the wars of the houses. He's now got like catapults and missile type siege weapons. So I don't know if they're cheating at this point for Cassius or if there's because I don't know
No.
why the Proctors, if they're siding with Nero, are now giving Cassius. I'm
I think
assuming
it
that they're
was-
giving him an edge in a hope that he'll come after Darrow and like side rail Darrow.
Unless I reread it wrong, I was seeing that as Jupiter was using catapults to decimate Mars. And Darrow was saying, well, the Proctors gave Jupiter these siege weapons to sack Mars. Because Cassius, at this point, they're been under siege for months, all winter, by the Jupiter and Pluto army.
Did I fully read that wrong?
Wow, this would be a moment.
That would be very frustrating.
Because there was one of the Proctors who was caught. He was just watching the feeds, and it was Cassius on the ramparts looking outward, and then in the distance, you could see catapults.
Is not great radio as I thumb through the book.
Because half of the Jackal's army is up in the mountains.
Yeah, so
the
right
other half
here,
is to the north.
Vulcan we find in a hollow immersion room, a fire crackling in the corner. He doesn't even see us come in till we turn off the machines. Vulcan was watching Cassius stand at the edge of a battlement as flaming missiles etched a smoky sky. They gave them fragging catapults. I guess it doesn't really say which.
Yeah.
Well, then it doesn't matter. So
But
that was a great sidetrack. Yeah, you're right. I'm right. We're all right.
I just know that they're besieged since winter, so I imagine it was the Jupiterians.
I mean, that makes sense if he's standing on the battlements and
yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you. You win. You take that.
Yes, I can.
I'll give you that
win.
round.
All right.
No, you have. I mean, that stop motion video is the win of the year.
Fair enough. I appreciate it.
I mean, people go watch that video and like it. Damn it, share.
Yeah.
It's actually legitimately surprising. Like, I thought it was very impressive.
I want to try more of it. I bought some. Don't worry about it. Well, yeah.
Oh my God! If you do action figure reenactments, I will
challenge
freak out.
Accepted.
Darrow beats Mercury. They find Mercury. Darrow beats him in a fight using his pulse fist and sets out to find Jupiter. The rest of Darrow's army has finally arrived, and they are swarming through the fortress of the Proctors. I picture this as something like a January 6th type of thing in my head, where it's just rabble-rousing children, like, now have control of the halls of power with no real plan. They're just kind of roaming around looking for someone to
maim or beat up.
Or
I picked up something different,
violent.
Though. They are very violent, actually, especially Tactus and his group once they get in there. And
I think they kill a bunch of like Greys and Loco.
Yeah, and Severo has to jump in and knock some of them aside. But did you see any similarities when Darrow was fighting Mercury and he ended up like breaking Mercury's off hand, and they're standing across from each other at one point, and he's like, well, this is going to be a great duel. Darrow says, well, I don't want to duel him. I will die. He has a razor, and he pulls up a pulse fist and shoots him.
I have that as one of my quotes.
All right,
because
fair
it's
enough.
straight out of Indiana Jones. It's the classic Indiana Jones.
But I also, I forgot that. 100% that's Indiana Jones. So maybe Darrow had the flu while they were filming it. But I see that as another relation in a later book. With he who shall not be named.
No honor.
Yeah.
No time.
Yes.
Damn. Yeah, that's a callback for sure.
Yeah. So
I don't know if it's a specific callback, but yeah, you're right. There is definitely connective tissue there for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. Fuck that scene. Damn.
I pieced that together. But yeah, moving on.
Man. I can't wait till we get to Dark Age.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's my favorite book.
It's my favorite book, man. Darrow doesn't need to keep looking Darrow doesn't need to keep looking for Jupiter because a well-armed Jupiter and Minerva find him first. They duel and beat Darrow and his forces back viciously. This is, an expected outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter and Minerva are golds. They are peerless scarred proctors. They're fighting children, and one of those children has never trained with these weapons outside of the last few months. So, like, sure, he's big and a warrior, but he's not like an expert. And that same, it wasn't an article that it was talking about it was a podcast I was listening to, a special forces, a Delta Force guy. And that was another thing that he talked about, where he was like, special forces is just, they're masters of the basics.
Yes.
They are effortless at all the stuff that the average guy has to learn, but it thinks about what they're doing as they're doing it. He was like, special forces is the same stuff. It's not some extra level of like jujitsu, black belt, gold,
No.
infantry tactics. It's small arms combat tactics,
Yes.
but just
Close
done at a
quarters.
master level.
And if you
And
really
I
want to
thought that was
know,
surprising.
you'll notice there's no big giant buff dude like you think of those elite forces. A lot of them are actually pretty scrawny. They're all the ones that have stamina. It's all the ones that
The
never give up. And that's how you
the
can tell.
Sevros.
Yes. They're not just all Arnold Schwarzeneggers. So the majority, 90% of them are like tall, lanky, skinny, scrawny, whatever adjective dudes.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was interesting there, just the idea of like, being I have no idea. I assumed that there was some extra super secret level of ability that
training.
they learn how to do. Yeah.
Willow's
and he was
Way.
like, no, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Legitimately, that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
And he was like, no, it's just, we do things at a speed that an average guy could not get to because they don't spend enough time doing it.
Yep.
He was like, you eventually do this stuff so often you don't even think, it's like breathing. But anyhow, that's the difference here, is Jupiter and Minerva are at that level of their masters, and Darrow is not. So he obviously is going to get his ass beat. But that's part of the plan here. This is another version of the hiding inside the dead horses. Because what happens is Darrow is wounded, tries to take Jupiter through a window, does take him through a window. They go crashing through the glass and come out, land in the mountainside, and they hit the snow side of the mountain below, and the Proctor pleads with Darrow to quit, to lose, or else. He's basically saying to him that, look, even if you win here, kid, the arch governor's going to come in here and kill everybody.
Yeah.
They're going to say you guys all went crazy and you're sick and you just need to be put down, and everybody's going to die. There's no victory at the end of this. And he's saying it in a pretty, I don't have a problem with Jupiter. I kind of like Jupiter. He's just being legit. He's telling him the truth. Like, yeah, you're doing fine against these kids and a couple of Proctors who you surprised, but when the Obsidians or the Crows show up, you're done. Like, there's nothing you can do
chance.
about it. And Darrow knows that he can't beat the Proctors, and he also knows that the Board of Quality Control, the drafters, and the other peerless aren't going to allow the Archgovernor to take it to that degree. So he kind of has a trump card here. It's confusing to me that none of the Proctors seem to understand this. At this point, like,
what exactly? What do you mean?
It's surprising to me that none of the Proctors have put the pieces together, that things have gotten out of hand, that this plan with the Archgovernor is not going the way they thought it was going to go. And none of them are like trying to cut a middle ground here, or even go over to Darrow's side and are like, you know what, this kid should win. Yeah, none of them are trying to do that.
It's
all of them are to the hilt.
You can control the recordings as much as you want, but when you have a year-long institute and you only can release footage for 4 hours, you're like, okay, what am I missing here? So it's at some point they must have been like, oh, we got to make a course correction here, or we're all going to be dead or fired by the Sovereign anyway.
Especially the ones that are kind of like not in the fight. Like, I don't know why Minerva is, clearly Mustang has taken up with Darrow. Like, why is Minerva on the side of Jupiter and Apollo?
Unless she's just like an old traditional iron gold, and she's like, no one comes up and takes Olympus,
I guess, but it seems weird. Darrow's shadow, Darrow is basically, I don't know if he's on his knees at sword point, but Jupiter is about to kill him. And
Because
then
he
Darrow
wounded
is
his leg.
able. Darrow wounds Jupiter's leg.
No, no,
Puts
no, no.
his razor.
Jupiter.
It's the other way. Yes,
Yeah,
he puts his razor through Darrow's leg.
yeah. Almost takes it off.
And as they're kind of talking through this, Darrow basically is like, "Yeah, well, you know, not everything is the way it seems,"
Mhm.
and then says, "Severo, go ahead and do your thing." And Severo removes his ghost cloak. We find out that he used his dad's grab boots and the ghost cloak to follow them through the window, sneak up behind and underneath a Jupiter, and then he removes the ghost cloak and stabs Jupiter in the legs, wounding him. The Proctor is then frees Darrow, and they subdue the Proctor and drag him back up to the fort, which has been now put completely under Darrow's control, except that the kids all come up to Darrow and say, "We found the weapons cache, but we did not find Mustang." And that is the end of chapter 42. I have a couple quotes. Did you have
Nice.
anything you wanted to add to the end there?
I think they did find Mustang, and they said we found the armory and we found Mustang.
Dude, what is wrong? Maybe I got to be better at writing my recaps.
I think how it says.
Oh, yeah. Olympus is ours and Mustang has been found. Now we have all the axes.
Yeah.
Why did I fuck that up? Anyhow, doesn't matter. Let's see. So this is where the Jackal is trying to plead with Reaper.
Hmm.
He says, "Reaper, Reaper, Reaper, you think this ends? This is the end of the line? Negative. Negative, Goodman. But if you let me go, then hardship gone. My father will become your patron. Hello, command. Hello, fame. Hello, power. Just say goodbye to this and let your future begin. We were enemies as children. Now let us be allies as men. You're the sword. I'm the pen." Little foreshadowing there for
yeah.
anybody that wants to follow us into Golden Sun. This is the horrific moment where he starts cutting. Then he starts to cut. Tears stream down his face as the blood first wells. He's sawing, and Pax can't even watch. The Jackal is halfway done when he looks up at me with a sane smile that convinces me of his complete insanity. His teeth chatter. He's laughing at me, at this, at the pain. I've not met anyone like him. Now I know how Mickey felt when he met me. This is a monster in the flesh of a man. I thought that was
Hell yeah.
sick. The particular with a sane smile that convinces me of his complete insanity. That's like very funny
Just
and
picture it. The
darkly
guy
terrifying.
sawing on his own hand, just laughing at himself, and
Teeth chattering.
Yeah. I don't think many people would be able to just stand there and again put him down. Just shoot him. You know?
Exactly. Kill him right then.
Yep.
We talked about Bloody Dam. Reaper, being Reaper, screams into Jupiter's face as they're facing off with each other. Or no, screams at the Jackal as as the Jackal's running away. And he screams, "You reap what you sow."
Mm.
Of course, he's got to get a reference into his reaping there.
Well, that's his nod to Pax Aut I don't know.
And he will eventually. 42, I have a couple of quotes here. War on Heaven. This I thought was kind of like what we just talked about with the special operations type. I have the hardest army. I have the hardest of all armies. The small, the wicked, the loyal, and quick.
Yeah.
Kind of what you just were describing of special forces there.
Hell yeah.
Darrow says, "The Proctors have played their games. They pushed and pushed for so long. They knew I was something dangerous, something different. Sooner or later, they had to know I would snap and come to cut them down. Or perhaps they think I'm still a child. the fools. Alexander was a child when he ruined his first nation. Do we know what he's talking about?
Alexander the Great?
Yep. At
Yeah.
the Battle of Chaeronea, Alexander has a famous cavalry unit that he used to charge at the tip of. It would charge in at the weak point of the enemy line.
Breakthrough.
I believe he's 16. He might be 18, but I'm pretty sure he's 16 years old at this point. They are fighting the Theban army. It's one of the Sacred Band is one of the elite military units in history. And Darrow, Alexander, at 16 years old, breaks the back of the Theban army, one of the best Greek armies at that time, as a child.
Yeah.
It's very,
Very
I
Darrow.
liked it. Yes, exactly.
I actually had that as a reading. One of my card reading videos, I had that in that exact quote. And I tried to do it in the deepest Cullen voice ever, but I haven't posted it yet.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
And then we have Darrow talking about his rage. My rage is calming. It is slowing and giving way to fear as the halls stretch on. This is him trying to figure out how he's going to take down Olympus. Oh, this is what you were talking about. I like this Proctor, but I also don't want him to kill me with that razor. So I sheathe my sword and shoot him in the chest with my pulse fist set to stun. Again, I read Indiana Jones, but your take was exactly right.
Yeah. I don't like my take. I very much enjoy the Indiana Jones reference because that was hilarious. First time I ever watched that movie. And he's just like,
classic. And then I have a little foreshadowing here, too. Not if I win before they get here. That is the key to everything. There may be a delay on the hollows before the drafters see them, but how long a delay? Who is editing the Gore Dam hollows while you fight? We'll make sure the right messages get out. And then, so that's kind of what we were talking about with him saying bloody dam, and then we find out there's some editing going on. We come back to that red headband.
I'm glad you brought that up.
We're like 20 pages towards the end of this book.
Yeah.
You know, a year plus has gone by. And then he says, I take my red sweatband off my head and dab away the sweat on my face, then wrap it around my head once more.
Yeah. When he was stripped naked, thrown into the, not crucible, now I can't think of it, in the beginning.
The passage.
The passage, and kills Julian.
But also, it's been with him this whole time?
I guess.
Like, even when he was killed by Cassius and getting nursed, and like, I'm just, again, I don't really care. I'm not faulting anything, but it's just like, is that the same red headband, or did he just get another one and he's like, Memento?
It's covered in blood constantly. It's just new headbands that get splashed with blood.
Something. And then the final one from 42 is, the clouds clear and Jupiter stands before me in the white. Red drips from his golden armor. He is tall, lean, and violent. This place is his home. It is his playground. The children his playthings till they get their scars. He is like any other petty tyrant of history, a slave to his own whims, a master of nothing but selfishness. He is the society, a monster dripping in decadence, yet seeing none of his own hypocrisy. He views all this wealth, all this power as his right. He is deluded. They all are. But I cannot cut him down from the front. No matter how well I fight, he is too strong. Just sums up, it's another kind of recapping of the whole story there of why Darrow's doing this and why the Golds are the bad guys, because we do need that reminder.
Yeah.
Because now all of our friends, everybody we like, everybody we love,
it's getting muddled. Gold. Yeah, it's getting confusing, but it also points to Darrow's adaptability, because he's like, oh, I know this challenge is, I can't beat this. I need to find a way to alter the paradigm. And 9 times out of 10, he does figure out a way, but there's always a consequence.
All right, that's chapter 42 and 41, the Jackal and... Fuck, I forgot it. How do I do that so quickly? 42, War on Heaven.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add? Anything I missed?
No, sir. We're so close. First book's
I know,
almost
man.
done. It's crazy.
So what do you bring? You're bringing us the last 2 chapters.
Last 2 chapters, I have the last test, 43 and 44, Rise.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, do you have anything off planet?
Just to make you happy, I can talk about the documentary.
Did you finish it?
Nope.
What'd you think of the end?
I said nope. I didn't.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I did not. Nope. I completely forgot about it.
Well, I'm not surprised. You're a real disappointment to me and everybody else.
To anyone listening, I am smiling from ear to ear if you can't see it on video, but I need to finish it.
I can see the tears welling in your eyes.
They're back there somewhere. What tear ducts?
Okay, well, please finish it for my sake and for everybody else. There needs to be a payoff to this eventually.
Hell yes, I need to. You're
Although
right.
it'd be funny if for the next like 5 years we're doing this and you still don't finish it.
Or I watch like 10 minutes at a time every episode. Just drag it out.
It's a stop motion. You just watch it frame by frame.
I'll just keep toying with you.
All right. So Nick Knotts Custom on Instagram and Etsy. Check it out if you want a Ares helm. 3D printed. It's pretty sweet. Can't go wrong. Also, there's a bunch of fantastic creators that we've been involved with, or not been involved with, but have received or purchased products from, and they're awesome. Everyone from Hail Reaper, PB Doodles, Beer's the Mind Killer. I'm probably forgetting some, but if you're out there and you want us to share your product, you don't need to send it to us. We will just gladly share links and stuff. And if you have anything that you're thinking about making or you want ideas to help make or whatever, reach out to us. We'd be happy to platform it or help create things with you or whatever. Our email is thesonsofarispodcast@gmail.com. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Sons of Aries Pod. And that's everything I've got, my good man.
The only other thing I want to add, if you have some cool products, of course, like Cullen said, we want to pay for it. We want to make sure that, we don't want anything given to us. We love your work. We want to pay for it. And I would ask, I'd like to make these little videos and post them. So I try to play around with these ideas. So get in touch with us and we can take it from there.
Gladly. And if you have anything specific you want us to touch on, include that information, prices, where they can find it, stuff like that. All right. We are on to the final episode. Next episode is the last episode of Red Rising before we get to Golden Sun. So thank you for joining us and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good one.